Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. We honor the supreme being this day.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. It's good to be back, sir.
Great to be back, brother. Chanting Hare Krishna. I've been reading the Bhagavad Gita and some of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I haven't really cracked into the Srimad Bhagavatam a whole lot, but I've read a lot of the Bhagavad Gita. I've started studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, and what's interesting about this Hindu theology is this kind of evolution of consciousness model they have for reality, which is like you have in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that Krishna is the supreme personality of the Godhead. Think about that. Isn't that kind of a funny way to say that?
Yeah.
Krishna is the supreme personality. Because like the pure form of God, of divinity, doesn't have a form at all.
Yeah.
So Krishna is like that original power's highest form, So Krishna takes that form and does the work that he needs to do.
Wow.
And that's really fascinating, that even behind deities there's a absolute truth. But the Srimad Bhagavatam, that's what it's talking about. It's talking about the difference between absolute truth and like helper deities and stuff. Like it talks about that there's gods of this world. The Srimad Bhagavatam talks about there's gods in this world that kind of hold the material existence together, and they all have jobs and operations. They're basically like us, except they have like more abilities, and they're not made of matter.
Yeah.
But they're beings, they're godlike beings that serve the Lord, through they all have different jobs and stuff like that. So that made me think of like the pagan, pagan religions. They represent all the energies of God through these different deities, and I think that's kind of what's going on there. Like those are the source of some of the energies on earth that we feel, like love and war and all whatever. These deities were represented to, they would kind of create deities to encapsulate this real energy. So you have this level of divinity, gods, spiritual beings, kind of holding the material world together. And then you have above that, you have beings like Krishna, who's the supreme being and form, and then you have behind that, which is the supreme being, the formless consciousness, which all things, which is the original form of all things. That's
Oh, dude, yeah.
It's such a far out cosmology.
But it is,
and it came out 5,000 years ago. It's incredible.
I got a comment to make on that. But first, randomly, when I asked you, I just flipped this book, and I was wondering what this was trying to represent. Right here, it just almost a disturbing picture. I was wondering what that's trying to say.
Wow. It's saying that the animal killers will soon be the opposite. It will be the one to be killed.
You mean like that will be their like hell realm after?
Either that, or maybe in the 3D world.
Because that animal has a human face.
Yes, and he has a animal face.
Oh.
So it's saying, look, animal killers do not know that in the future the animal will have a body suitable to kill them.
God.
Yep.
Dude.
There is no disjustice in the universe.
Brother, so all the times me and him has gotten upset in the past, why did somebody just do this to this harmless insect or whatever it may be? Me and him's always gotten very riled up at those things.
So according to the Bhagavad Gita, those people
That makes sense.
So the consciousness that was in the bug or in the animal will later have a suitable body to kill the other person.
Oh my god!
As an act of karma, I suppose.
Whoa! And another thing I was wondering, at the cool, very beautiful and some disturbing, paintings here. But I love that. I looked at that.
Wow.
But I was wondering what this meant.
I think these are like kind of deities. Let's see what it says on here. It gives a little. Page 6. The spirit soul, bewildered by the three modes of material existence. The three modes of existence, that's a big thing in Hinduism. Let me try to remember it here. It's there's three modes of existence, and there's one is the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
One is the mode of I forget, there's three modes, but it says that the spirit that's bewildered by the three modes of material nature and under the influence of the false ego thinks himself to be the door of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes. So it's saying that a being may be confused and think that their body is the source of their animation, but in reality it's the Supreme Spirit, you know. And the idea is that the yogi or the mystic transcends the three modes of existence, and you can only do that. And I was reading about this yesterday, and it's really far out. It's talking about like action and how anytime you act and you do it for any other motive, but if you do it without devoting your activities to divinity, how this creates suffering. And it talks about how you can do work. It says in the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about like you may look at a holy person and you might not even notice that they're a holy person because they're doing all the things that normal people do. They're washing dishes, they're washing their clothes, they're eating, they're shitting, they're just doing normal shit. But they're these holy people, and the reason that they're different than the normal person is because the person devoted to Lord Krishna or devoted to the Supreme Being, the spirit that permeates all things, it sustains all things, the source of love and all the highest emotions that we get a glimpse of here in the 3D world. That's Krishna. And anyone who acts, so it's in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that you should. It talks about work a lot, and it says that you should work, but devote your work to Krishna, and then you will not have karma. If you devote your work for Krishna, if you eat, and you devote your food to Krishna, Krishna, then this is a non-karmic way to go about it. So it's like before you do anything, you remember the source, you remember why you're here, you remember, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's pretty interesting.
Brother, I want to talk about where I have to say goes into. I guess this would be considered like Hinduism.
Yeah.
I guess Buddhism is kind of the same thing, really.
It's similar. It seems to me. I think I heard somebody describe Buddhism as exported Hinduism.
Yeah.
You know, like Hinduism kind of belongs to India, and Buddhism is.
Here is your religion, Hinduism, to go.
Pretty much
to bring
That's
here.
what it seems like. And Buddhism is really cool, is because it kind of synthesizes with kind of whatever maybe your practices are. So maybe you have a pagan practice. Buddhism can just come right in and merge right with what you're practicing.
That.
You can be a Christian and have that or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know what you just read this, and I would say I've been more drawn to books such as the Gita lately, like the past week or so, and I've looked into, and I'll get into it in a little bit, but the different branches of mysticism. You know, when I told you the other day that only because Crowley mentioned in one of his books that when he was really young, first thing he did was he studied a lot of Hinduism, and he later went to India, and he was very drawn to that. And even the Thelemites, which is a group of noble gentlemen that their religion is one that Crowley started, um, with Book of Law being kind of the centerpiece of that religion. But it's very centered in Hinduism.
Well, yeah, yoga. I've read Crowley's take on yoga. He actually has a book that I have on I have digitally called
Okay, that
eight
one.
eight lectures of yoga on yoga. And but yeah, he talked about how yoga was an essential magical practice because your ability to wield magic depends on your ability to concentrate, your ability to hone in certain energies, subtle things that meditation and yoga is good for cultivating, and just the idea of becoming single-minded. Meditation is great for that, and just keeping your body in good shape is important for the great work, because if you're not taking care of your body, then problems are going to arise that's going to prohibit you from doing the great work. Your consciousness will be more likely to be focused on the suffering caused by your misuse of your body.
Bad place to be.
Yeah, it is.
But it seems like every religion that we've looked into, every religion, like just so many different, they seem to have at least a little bit of truth in it. Like even the
or
worst
similarities.
of religions, similarities.
Yeah.
But when it comes to reading this book, for example, the Gita, like everything in here, like that we've read so far, I haven't read as much as he's read in this. We've had pretty much whole days before that we've sit and we've really read for hours out of this book. But
and I think the reason I enjoy reading the mystical literature of the East more so than Christianity is because Christianity seems to be more tainted with male-dominator ego. This seems to be less of that. And I do think that there's underlying
and the resignation with it too.
Yeah.
Like I think that in order to find out the truth in anything, in religion, the great work being the biggest out of those things, how you know things are true is if you resonate with you. And just like we just flipped this random page and found about reading about animal killers. Like the first thing I thought that's how me and you would say that would be the punishment for somebody who has tortured insects, say for example. Like
and look, and I've talked about this before. And this, I always found this to be a big problem in Christianity was the whole idea of, well, first of all, there is evidence that Christianity did accept reincarnation at one point, but it was changed. But well, in the modern canon of Christianity, reincarnation is rejected.
Yeah.
So so that creates this weird problem of so you might have a dude in New York City, and he's bombarded with all of these different systems of thought, pick me, and and maybe he's like, I'm not going to choose any of them. I'm just going to live by my experience. That guy, take that guy versus the tribesman in the Amazon. Is someone who's doesn't know how to read, is completely cut off from all culture, has lived in the jungle the whole life. That person is going to go to heaven because they don't know. They've never heard the word of God. So they're going to heaven for doing shit. Literally nothing. They literally did nothing and they're going to heaven. But yet this guy in New York who has all these different, it gets to observe, it has a lot of information, it gets to observe all of these different ways of thinking, ways of believing. That person is going to be more likely to be like, look, this is a relative thing. I'm going to kind of cut my own path. That person is going to go to hell. There's that big injustice there, and I think that the most, if divinity is highest consciousness, which I believe it is, then divinity would operate in a way that's purely just, and that version of God that's in the Christian Bible is definitely not a representation of justice. because just like what I just described, that's a totally unjust situation. That if someone that does nothing, reads no Bible, does nothing, just doesn't know about it, they're going to heaven. And somebody that is bombarded with all kinds of different thought systems and maybe doesn't pick Christianity, they're going to hell. And that's stuff like that is insane. And I love Krishna's attitude towards us in the Bhagavad Gita. Is so loving, and it's like, look,
I know.
You're a human. You're clouded by illusion, and it's okay. I still love you. I will guide you. I will help you. I will but ultimately I will do what's just. To guide your development towards a higher spiritual being. But yeah, I love the attitude of Krishna. I feel like that represents to me what divinity would be like. It's a total justice. The whole system of karma, and there's nothing that you will not have to pay your dues. There's nothing that, and it's just everything is just perfectly lawfully unfolding according to karma. And our jobs as individuals is to cultivate higher consciousness in ourselves and represent this hyperdimensional wisdom that we've experienced through many different mediums.
Say for example, me and him, we both grew up in a very, very, a lot of people would consider very, very strict Christianity household, to the point to where it became a big problem mentally, just because it was wrong for us to say, for example, to listen to, say, a band like the Beatles. That was something that I feel that most parents would be very happy with their kids listening to such a clean band, at least lyric-wise.
Right.
And a lot of people these days listen to, we feel, very inferior, soulless type of music, seedless. Yeah, the Beatles were very magical. Not to get off changing my rant a little bit, but I do want to say the Beatles are very magical. They were filled with soul.
Yeah.
That's what they.
And that's the thing about like the spirit. The spirit, the immaterial part of existence that we all feel is in existence. This part of where everything comes from. Where everything. When you observe nature and how perfect and how balanced it all is, it's all pointing towards an intelligence. And this spirit is living. It's alive and it's vibrant and it's pure love, pure bliss, pure justness and dignity. And it's just here with arms open wide, like here I'm ready to accept you. It's like and what it talks about in this is that our souls, our purest selves, is that spirit. Like we are that spirit that's differentiated itself and incarnated itself to reawaken. And that's a far out idea. The realization that we are actually infinite beings. That's masquerading, playing a game, and got so lost in the game that we forgot where we came from. But the joy of realizing that this is just a dream, is amazing, and it makes life so much lighter, to realize that, because the heaviness of mundane things kind of goes away when you realize that this isn't, of course, this isn't bottom bedrock reality, I think it's foolish to assume that.
Look how beautiful that is. I love that.
Wow.
Yeah, but going back to kind of before I get too off track talking about people who has a lot of times grown up in very strict Christian households, they a lot of different things can take place. They get older, a lot of times it ends kind of bad. They just do some crazy stuff, end up getting themselves in trouble.
I can think of a few.
Yeah, a lot. We could think of a few people who has done this. But what we did was we just started looking into a lot of different religions, and I think we did probably the best thing. We went straight over to good old Anton LaVey's
we
satanic
opened
Bible.
ourselves to Lucifer to dissolve our
Yeah.
cultural. You know, I was thinking about that the other
Yeah,
day.
I
How
was too,
Satan
man.
is really like because think about it, all cultural people who are embedded in the thought systems of the culture, they all hate the devil. You know,
Yeah.
if you start to mention the devil, they just
Even
get all
just
crazy, or
any-
dark things,
yeah.
or shadow things,
Yeah.
or secret or hidden things.
Yeah.
They just go crazy. They don't
Yeah.
want to hear it.
No.
And I love Lucifer. I love
Yeah.
Lucifer as a being of like a Shiva like being who dissolves, you know, destroys and decays
Shiva's
things
a
that
very-
need to be taken care of, you know, and I think that we all are wearing these chains of ideologies that we've have accumulated from just existing in the culture that we have to take care of in order to move forward
Yeah.
in the great work. If you start to embark on the great work without dissolving these false ego structures and false thought structures, then you're going to be confused, you know.
It's funny because I'll probably, like I said, we both resonate with Hinduism more than anything, because everything that we have read out of there and talked about and listened to, it all just adds up and it makes perfect sense. And wow, this
And it
is the way it
resonates.
is. And but yet I still probably, when out with the masses every day that I don't like being around, I'll probably bring up LaVey's name more than anything, and Crowley, and just Satanism in general, because I just think that
represents
baseline-
the total opposition of cultural norm.
And I think that's a good idea. You know, like if you are, you know, was in a place and you know that that's not the truth, and you're tired of living this certain way that society tells you to live like, I mean, it's really depressing the way Christians, or just men of this culture, I mean, it's really a bad life. And you add Christianity into it, it's a lot worse.
Because
You
it's
know?
the self deceit
Yeah.
in it all.
Yeah.
You know, the you know, I you know, I'm feeling my carnal processes going on. I feel compelled to sin, and I maybe even do sin. I do look at the woman walking by, or I do whatever, a glut, or whatever it is, chew skull or whatever. Like you're living with this, like pretending to be one way and not at all. You know, acting out. Because they're doing it, because most Christians are doing that out of fear. They're practicing out of fear, because the whole religion is based on, if you don't do this, your one lifetime, you're going to hell. And it's that fear that causes people to live with this schizophrenia of living one way, wanting to do one thing, but having to act, you know, a certain way to.
Man, it really is a dark religion.
It's not
It's
good.
an evil religion.
I think it
really is, and anybody who doesn't see that, they are. You know,
and this is the thing about Hinduism too. It has a totally different view on sin, and sin is kind of in there, but it's in there in a different way. It says, look, you are a human. You are a spirit that's embarked on a journey into material, and the nature of this material. You have certain chemical processes, certain bodily, natural, biological processes that are going to occur, and so. Those are totally natural things, like sexuality or wanting to eat, or all these things are natural human things. But in Hinduism it says you have a higher nature, and that higher nature is a total liberated being. It's not confined by the hell of trying to constantly chase your tail and constantly try to scratch an itch that you can't scratch through all of these different hedonistic practices. You know, so in Hinduism it says, look, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, it's human activities. But a wise person says, I have a part of myself that is eternal, that is pure, and I wanted to contact that because I feel like I've probably been doing this for a long time,
Yeah.
and I've probably had enough fun here on Earth. I think I might want to do the real thing now.
Yes.
Do the real stuff that I need to do. The whole reason
Yeah.
I'm here, and I think you reach that point at a certain point of your
Yeah.
incarnation, and that the desire to be free overcomes the desire to be hedonistic and just fulfill your 3D desires. So it's not like 3D desires are bad. Obviously, if it's harming someone, it is. But like, yeah, that's just your normal biological impulses, and you can enjoy them. And this is the thing too.
Yeah.
It's Ram Dass talks about this. He says, "Look, you can don't. These religions are not talking about being an ascetic and just not engaging in any form of pleasure. Like the goal, the thing is the attachment to the pleasure. That's what keeps you incarnating.
Yeah.
But if you say, look, I'm human, and this is a pure situation in which I can express my human pleasure and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But ultimately realizing that that's not what I'm attached to. That's the difference. Is like not being so attached to your carnality.
Going back to real quick, that really is kind of what I wanted to say, that Satanism
celebrates life,
and that could be a good way to kind of purify yourself, getting out of
this life negative type of.
And really, I mean, life's too short on one level to not enjoy your carnal desires. And even if you branch off like we did and kind of use it geared toward the great work, paganism, a lot of people did the same way. And the Druids, in the ancient times, a lot of people, I mean, look at Aleister Crowley's the perfect example. He still enjoyed his carnal desires while realizing that it's a very short process. I mean, and I don't think there's any right or wrong with that. I mean, some people give up certain things, and like that. We talked about the monks who like never had sex or anything like that, but
I think that's a way, if like there is something to the out of sight, out of mind, and
they're not around anybody,
right? And but I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's that it's sinful to partake in your natural desires. But the problem is when you get to the point where you're so obsessed with fulfilling your desires,
then that turns into a separate little
But if you work with yourself and work with this non-attachment thing, and I think that you can get to a point where, well, first of all, I think in your spiritual path, you can get to the point where 3D pleasures are inferior to the pleasure of being illuminated by divine wisdom.
Yeah.
And so you have a bigger pull toward that. I think Aldous Huxley said sexuality is
see the LSD guy.
Yeah, he said in Mescaline, Aldous Huxley said something to the effect of an intellectual is someone who has found something more interesting than sex.
Wow.
And that's true. Sex is like and Bhagavad Gita talks about this too, how like sex is really the main thing that keeps people spinning round and round on this wheel of karma. Is but it's also a beautiful lower dimensional slice of this hyperdimensional existence of merging back with your beloved.
And it's a pity that people look at it in such a
It's a beautiful, mystical, and multi-meaning thing. But it's the attachment to it, and when you obsess over it, and when you're using someone to fulfill your desires, that's when it gets bad. That's when it gets tricky and in karma. I think.
And maybe that's why people. I mean. People in the jungle, they go about it a completely different way. It's why they don't just commit to one person, and but it's not just them, it's just the way everybody, if they're not attached in that way.
The whole the family thing, having a family, two people, you had the kid,
Mm-hmm.
raising it. Marriage is an institution which I think facilitates raising kids. That's the thing, is marriage facilitates raising kids, and
Yep.
it's a good thing in that regard.
Yeah.
But the obsession over your partner,
Mm-hmm.
and those ego games, that can get nasty. But you know there is something to be said for marriage, and its benefit for raising children.
Mm-hmm.
you know
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I agree, man, 100%. Like, I look at it a lot differently than a lot of people do. Me and him both. Like, I don't know. I look at it. I mean, we talk a lot about this. Yeah. I mean, I've been married for almost 8 years, and I look at it a lot differently now than what I did when I first got married. I don't know, man. And a lot of people around me look at it. I don't know, man. Like, they somehow connect marriage with Christianity.
yes.
And that's first a huge problem.
Mhm.
And then raising kids is probably another. The way of doing it is such a people have to have this one way of going about it, and then it gets all another thing gets tricky is doing the great work, which is the most important thing, and we can't let
That's true.
that distract us from that, no matter how bad this may sound. Um,
And it doesn't mean that you
it
necessarily have
doesn't.
to abandon.
No, not at all.
It's just
it's,
that
it's just a balance like anything else.
right, 100%. And if you are to take the ideas that we talk about seriously, and the ideas that these spiritual texts talk about, or the ideas that psychedelics bring to
Yeah.
mind seriously, then I think that we have to realize that
It's a
that
good thing.
that this liberation that we're seeking, the source of the reason we're here, we ultimately want to do that. We want to do that. And your family is part of your karma.
It is.
It's lawfully unfolding the way it should be according to karma.
I mean, just say you're dating somebody, then this is something to talk about before getting married.
Mhm.
You make that commitment, and then talking about having a family with your partner,
And the pressure of
talking about that.
people feel like they're losers if they don't have a family, or they
Right.
feel like they're
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that there's the
That's-
ego aspect
There
of that too,
definitely
and
is.
the ego aspect of, oh, I married her, now she's mine, like
Right.
that aspect
Yeah.
of it
That-
too is
there's so many like horrible ways. You know what though? Like, I went through something similar to that at the beginning. This your mind thing, and
Right.
it's wow.
like most people do.
I'm so glad that I haven't been living like that for a great many of years. Because jealousy, if you're living with that, then you're not one bit.
And in a non-attached
Yeah.
state.
Then you're not able to even do the great work, and then you're man, wow. Like, I've been like reminded, just me and you having this conversation, about what a bad place that I was actually in. Like, when we first got married, I didn't realize it. I was just so attached to me being this certain way and being like the hero type person, and then the people that I was around at the time was talking about having kids, and I thought to myself, like, when I do have a family with this my partner, it's not going to be anything like this. It's not going to be anything the way me and him were raised. As far as religion goes, I feel like a lot of parents, especially people our age, after what they call the Generation X, people who were teenagers in the 1980s, I feel like most of them questioned the strict Christian, a lot of that, because that's kind of the religion of the baby boomers. And some of them took a change and decided that they was going to explore. I think the best person to bring up right offhand was the occultist. I think he was in his prime in the 80s. Now he has a YouTube channel. He knows a lot about Philema. He knows a lot about Eastern mysticism. What is his name, brother? He was arrested.
Oh, Damien Nichols?
Yeah, Damien.
Damien Nichols.
He's probably in his 50s, early 60s, right?
I'd say probably late 40s, early 50s. But yeah, he's probably about our dad's age. Probably.
Yeah, he's a good example. I feel like. But I kind of get the sense with people that we was around when we was still kids, and we was forced to go to church and everything with their family. I could just, even then, we used to joke around about it. We could see a lot of people not even believing what this religion was about, but they were just there because it's an image.
Exactly.
There's so many different reasons why people are in church, and people say they're a Christian.
And I think that's what separates the majority of Christian people
it's a
versus
weird thing,
occult people. Like the occult is about, the word occult means hidden, and the idea is that our senses, our brain, our neurology, our biology is blocking and filtering out things, and that there is a hidden nature to reality that through exploration can be found, and that honest explorative mindset, I think, is where you find truth. It's not in accepting a platter of a dogma to take in and start practicing. No, it's the occult is a experience-based thing, and I think that's a much more honest way to explore spirituality.
I've noticed this is kind of branching off to a little bit of a different subject, brother man, but I notice you start getting to a point to where, first of all, you start getting at a point before you hopefully start awakening a little bit. You get to this place of everything's the same, and now things of culture is now boring.
Right.
And whether it's buying, keeping up to date with the newest things that you can get, or people that's involved in churches, and that stuff you just wake up one day and it's just not the same as it was yesterday. It's just, and we both went through that at a certain time, and then you get to this part to where you start to awaken, a bunch of truths are revealed to you, and you know that the things that this world is telling you is not the truth. As you start figuring out the truth of yourself, and then you kind of become in a very dark place. You realize that things that's fed to us on the internet and media and the news is all fake, and
there's all kinds of ulterior motives for the information being blasted out of people's televisions and cell phones.
I can't, and I still haven't showed you this, brother, but the way Brother Jim Carrey talks about this is so amazing. But it hit him all at once, and it hit him when he was at a party with a lot of other actors, and this is a place that he always enjoyed being at. He was the guy who came in, everybody looked forward to. This guy's going to come in, start cracking jokes, keeping everybody occupied. He was just a guy that, everybody had a great time being around him. And he just came in and he just didn't feel like faking. Everybody was drunk, and he said this is the kind of environment to where everybody's apologizing to each other the next day. I didn't mean to hit on you. I'm married and all that crap. People just feel like they can do this stuff when they're on alcohol. Yeah. And he just realized that this environment, coming here, getting drunk, and this is big stuff we're getting ready to talk about, by the way. He realized this was wrong for him, and he said, why is it that the monk or the person who is awoke, they're all what they you never see these people at a party with a bunch of other people. You never see these people just getting drunk and just they're okay. A lot of times they're off to themselves in the woods somewhere because they are more not alone in the woods by
Exactly.
themselves than
Yeah.
around a bunch of people. He
Exactly.
said he would rather walk off into the woods and at least he is in tune.
Because
He
all
doesn't
the
have
people-
to fake himself.
All the people that he was around it's almost like he's not
Yeah,
even there anyway.
He's not even there anyway.
because they're concerned with the way they look at their image and they're doing their
Okay.
ego thing, and it's not even a real thing.
Yeah, and he
Exhibitionism.
realized, he had this little insight where he was already an actor, and he actually said, "I've got to get out of the acting
Mm-hmm.
thing because if not, I'm gonna end up slapping somebody."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "I can't fake this anymore," and it's hard. The first step, okay, to becoming awakened is you have this hatred toward everybody. And he said this is a phase that a lot of enlightened people don't tell you because it's kind of a touchy subject. I mean, not many people like to come forth with the information that you just hate everybody. But it slowly starts to change and it's slowly, I know for a fact we both went through that phase.
Yeah.
I mean, still, sometimes sometimes we do kind of hate people. I mean, it's
because when you start to develop spiritually, and you realize
and
like
it's
how
true,
how much mistakes like our peers are making, and how they treat each other, and it makes us upset, it makes us angry at them, and I think as you develop, you realize that you were there once,
exactly,
and these people that you're seeing are, number one, they're going to work through this. I mean, there's no way you can't. And they are a process. They're not a complete being. They're not a realized being. You're looking at a process, and you shouldn't judge a process. It's not realized yet. It's not where it needs to be yet.
I ran into a guy that I used to work with, and wow, he's a really nice guy, but he was talking about like he went to another job and he said he really missed working with me. He said he didn't because we worked side by side, and he said he just like took for granted like what a laid back, humble person I am, and now the person he works with side by side is just this big feeling dick that he's better at everything. And he said, man, he thinks a lot about something I said, and now he uses this in his conversation. I thought this was so nice of him to say this, but he said one thing that I used to say all the time was treating your fellow man the way that treating your fellow man, no matter what, if you don't like him or not, with respect and kindness, and try to do things for him, even if it's like going out of your way to do things. And that kind of love, if we could actually mean it, because it don't mean shit if it's not coming from our heart. But a lot of Christians do this, and I told him this, and so we both talked a lot about this. I mean, how many times? Okay, why is it people are showing stuff off on their social media?
I'm helping people.
Look, I'm helping people. I just gave this homeless guy, I took a picture of him. Look what I did, and I have proof. And it's all about showing somebody.
Exactly.
People a lot of times, unfortunately, do things for others if they can take a picture of them,
Exactly.
or And he was talking about that, and
because you have to cultivate yourself. You have to, like you said, it can't loving people, and that can't happen unnaturally. Like, you have to get to a point to where you realize that you are these people.
Yeah.
There only is one consciousness. There's just the beloved manifesting in all these different forms, and some of them are lost right now. Some of them are awakened, and there's no reason to hate.
And another, going back to, we like to refer to the good gentleman, Brother Jim Carrey. Another thing that he said, which is really cool, was so he kind of he broke away from this place that he was in, and there's another phase that happens shortly after that. Um, is okay. So you have all these revelations at first. You're seeing all these things. It's like the spiritual world is just pouring, uh, is pouring these truths over top of you, and maybe it's you know. I guess we've talked about before plants. Certain plants are very magical and they will show truth to you. Like we talked about kratom and kava, cannabis, and he's talked a lot about, magic mushrooms and other things. But it doesn't have to be a plant necessarily. Look at the holy work that people's, um, the things that people's had visions and all kinds of great things that's changed them forever, like the Beatles with LSD.
Right.
But there comes a part in the great work to where, and I've noticed this recently, you have these revelations, but it becomes more difficult to explain them. Like I've noticed, I've kind of been going through this recently.
No, I definitely know what you mean.
Yeah, and it comes and goes though. But a lot of people, he said, don't get frustrated with that.
Yeah.
You will get through that, and it just seems like a little test.
Yeah. It's strange too. Like I've had moments of amazing clarity, moments of where the universe makes
brother,
sense.
I had some this week,
and then there's other times that everything does not make sense at all, and like in my mind, like
oh god,
nothing makes sense, and nothing I'm doing makes sense.
And I'm like wait a minute,
that happens sometimes.
I was just doing this.
Yeah. Like just the other day, I had a perfect like understanding, but and I think as you develop, your understanding of truth probably concretes and becomes more as you understand it more. But I have these feelings sometimes where I'll get these, it might be on cannabis or a plant, where I'll get this wave of an insight that's really deep about the universe or about something, and then it's like as soon as I wrap my head around it, it's gone. It that happens to me a lot.
Yeah, brother.
Like with this like giant idea will come to me, and I'll be like, "Whoa! I can't wait to tell Cameron this. I can't wait to," and then it's gone. I don't remember it no more.
Yeah,
that happens.
That's why
it's weird.
If me and him live together, as soon as brother, quick, get in there before I forget. I think of that all the time.
It's like a dream, like how a dream, psychedelics, do this similar thing.
And people who think outside the box. And there's another person that said the same thing, if you remember. And we were so little at the time, we didn't really realize what she was talking about. And then I think about her, man, so much now when we have these, because it's truth. It happens about the getting the truth revealed, and then it just leaves you.
Yes.
I know you remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Man, and this person, I guess. She a baby boomer probably, and man, there's a lot of things she's spot on about, but there's a lot of things we definitely disagree with her about. I just feel like
a lot of it's pressure from her family and stuff.
I think a lot of it, she has a lot of family members and a lot of people who came into her life recently. She's had to deal with death of those she really cares about recently, and we haven't talked to her in a great many of years, but she, at the end of the day, she thinks outside the box, and she has a really big heart. Because she's never even met my wife before, but she has recently, and I haven't even told you about this, sent like baby gifts and stuff like that. And I thought that was just really nice. And like that, it's been about 3 or 4 times she's done this.
She's super nice.
Going back to what I was saying about the whole clarity thing, and I thought that was a cool way that he put that, and because sometimes it's hard to put in words what you're going through, but he seems to have a really good way of that. It's like that's why you need people like that, and with Ron Dawes, Terrence McKenna, and
because their level of understanding and wisdom, just like you could be in the worst state and it just tunes you back into like good thinking.
Yes,
I love that.
I'm gonna real quick drink this real quick.
All right,
sir.
big dog. Probably drink mine here in a second too. Yeah, I've really been enjoying this this version of the Bhagavad Gita. Um, so I guess these books I'm pretty sure are like the official like um, ISKCON. So ISKCON is ISKCON stands for the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Yeah, ISKCON. International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And ISKCON was founded by this guy, the Prabhupada guy. And it's basically like a sect of Hinduism
Wait a minute.
that's devoted to Krishna.
Wait a minute.
But yeah, the Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, he has a lot of interesting insights into it, and I really enjoyed it.
I just saw a picture of him beside somebody that I can't believe.
Who was it? Are these pictures of Krishna so cool? Oh, that's him. Or Krishna in the picture.
That's right, a picture of him with
Yeah.
Krishna there.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
him. That's cool.
Yeah. So this is a way to, this is a method, you know.
Did you ever meet Ram Dass or anybody?
I don't know. Probably. But I just love it. I love Krishna. I really do. And I love chanting Hare Krishna.
Me too, brother.
I love the consciousness that Krishna represents. I think that Krishna, as he's revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and in these holy scriptures,
Yes,
as the supreme being, I feel that those are the qualities of the supreme being, and I honor it. And I open myself to that spirit.
I'm gonna try to get on my notes here so I can remember this thing I want to talk about. Let's see here. So in a lot of these religions, like I said earlier, most of them seem to have at least a few truths, even though maybe it's completely misguided and tainted by things such as ego or it's even like the guy that we've talked about, we've cracked jokes about, we've watched his videotape of the initiation. They called him Doe, but there was a big suicide in the 90s. And he used to he would go on and on about how this earth is going to be recycled and refurbished. And the guy was like, obviously completely cracked, but he did say a lot of things that were truthful, and a lot of people wouldn't, admit that truth. But just because I said earlier, Crowley talked a little bit about it, with Islamic mysticism, which I've also found out that has a lot of the truths that that very similar conclusions, the way people do things, like Hinduism, but pretty much with Sufism, hopefully I'm pronouncing this the way it's supposed to, is the definition for this is the inward mystical dimension of Islam focused on purifying the soul, direct personal experience of God, and attaining divine love and knowledge. And a lot of these things, if one of the people I respect so much is this, he was best known for directing the original 1987 Hellraiser movie, was Clive Barker, and just an all-around extremely cool guy. But he's got so many great quotes that has to do with the great work, and he has studied the occult, back in the 80s. He's read a lot of work from LaVey. He's gotten involved and studied Buddhism, and a couple quotes I love so much from him. But like this just said, in the Islam mysticism, if a religion, if love isn't the centerpiece of the religion, any religion that love's not the centerpiece, then it's false.
I believe that, dude.
It's a fake religion, and a lot of people don't want to admit this, but Christianity, love is not the centerpiece of that.
No.
And I mean, if that was the case, we know a lot of people in our area with so much hatred towards somebody who
Expresses their love to, someone who this religion doesn't deem that they should express their love to, and stuff like that.
I mean, just I work with this guy, for example, who he grew up in the area that we live in. That, well, he later did move here, but he moved here to get away from his family in a nearby state. But where he's gay, the hatred, and being gay, being our age, like in the 80s in this area, where evidently things was even more
Conservative.
Yeah, conservative. He had a really hard time, and he's came to the same conclusion that me and you did. Anybody with an open mind would do this. How would a God send you to hell,
Right.
for expressing true love for somebody? We don't know why we are.
Because this is the thing, like, people who are homophobic, like, they might have a wife,
Yeah.
And they probably don't love him, but say
Yeah.
to fantasize for a moment that there is a happy married couple,
And a lot of times they are, brother.
I know.
Just not sexually.
Right, exactly.
They love them like as a friend.
Right.
And they like it's weird.
Totally. But you have, these two people, and they're together, they love each other, and yet they'll sit there and they'll disparage someone who's homosexual.
Yeah.
But they just can't understand, like, look, just in the same way that you love your partner, this person loves their partner.
Mm-hmm.
And you expect them to just not pursue the love that they feel.
Oh,
That's insane.
I totally see. I thought you was talking about there at first, like a gay person is married, and that's why I was like,
yeah.
No, what he's saying is completely true.
Yeah, if there's love there, how could you possibly think that's a bad thing?
We know a lot of Christians though that been married for a while.
Oh, dude, there's so many, like, politicians and stuff that are, like, obviously gay, like, in the past, and they're married and they do that, but they're like have the gayest voice. And, like, they're like
you can tell
all the
You
signs.
can just tell.
Yeah,
You can just tell,
and yet they'll sit there and talk about. There was this one guy, dude, like, he was like the 2000s. I don't remember his name, but he was this guy, like I was talking about. He was obviously gay. Like, he seemed like he was gay, and he had like the voice, and but he was so homophobic.
Yeah.
And he would talk about, he had this, like, really, like, girly voice. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just what he had.
Yeah.
But he would talk negative about homosexuality, and he would I think he even had this, like, reform thing, like this place for young men to come to pray the gay away. And dude, you know that was just a whole big sex orgy. Like,
Yep.
you know it was. Him and these young kids, like, trying to get him not to be gay.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was getting off on that big
Yeah.
time. You know what? At the very minimum, if this wasn't some type of, you know, even if he didn't go as far as actually, you know, having physical contact with these kids, just having them all in his presence,
Oh, yeah.
that would be enough for him to be able to
Because he's
get
such
hard
a
over his
sexually
wife when he goes-
repressed person.
Oh
that-
man, that's so true
Yeah.
though, because we know somebody who's actually now married.
Yeah.
Fortunately, because unfortunately for her, but he has revealed that you know he is,
participated in some
Yeah.
homosexual activities.
and it's something he's tried to fight, and then he's also involved in the religion of Christianity.
Isn't that
so,
that's just really mind blowing to me? Like, especially like how much he would talk down on gay
yeah,
people.
and that seems to be a kind of a sign because me and him
Yeah.
never gave a fuck.
Exactly. Like, dude, I really do think that
People,
like we'll get to the point where if somebody is homophobic, they are admitting to their own homosexuality.
I
Because why
agree.
would a normal person care?
why would you care? I mean,
As long as they're
we
not trying
know
to fuck
people
you.
who have gone on
Yes.
and on
Yes.
and on
Oh
and
my
on,
God.
like it's going on for fucking
That's their
hours.
main thing that they think about, how bad they hate gay people.
As long as you ain't gay, I guess it's just yeah.
Yeah.
But with if you're already in a relationship and you're already getting your woman all the time, and honestly, you should be more mad at a straight person for the
taking up the
possi-
women, you know?
Yeah. You know, but
Like, hey, that's a good
that,
thing.
more hey,
more for me.
these women chasers, hey, more women for me. I don't have
Exactly.
to worry about that guy at least. But it does seem to be the giveaway.
Yeah, it really
uh,
does.
And before I get too off topic, though, talking about a lot of things, I referred back to my notes to see what I was wanting to talk about, one of the things. And one of them was getting information and just attaining it for a very small amount of time and then losing it again. And the other thing that I want to talk about, and this is really trippy, I have two more things I do at least want to talk about, is now actually my wife, I was being moved by Kratom recently, so I had like a 20-minute rant. I'll show you later, but about synchronicities. You know, we've talked before. Carl Jung's actually the one who came up with
Coined
the
the
word.
term,
Yeah. So I've noticed, this is going to be hard to get into as well, but I got into it pretty good the other day. It's just hard to get back there exactly because sometimes these revelations will move you into a different direction, and it's kind of hard to get back to that same place, but let me try. I've noticed that if you're really paying attention to the synchronicities and you acknowledge that this is a thing going on for somebody who is,
Less open-minded
Exactly.
to metaphysical ideas.
and with us, we are trying to do the great work. At least something along the lines of spiritualism every day.
Yeah.
Whether it's just and our mind, though, keep in mind, is always there. Even if we're not doing the great work, our mind is on the great work 24/7.
Yeah.
It really is. That's now our life. We could be watching a movie, but that still comes to our mind. Okay, I'm enjoying my physical self in this 3D world at the moment, but I do realize that very soon. I mean, we think about death all the time.
Oh yeah.
I did something yesterday.
One of my favorite subjects.
Yeah. And talking about death. Oh, good Lord, it's where it's at.
And nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody wants to talk about it. Yeah, but
Dude, I love to talk about death.
yeah.
And people get freaked out. People
I'm-
don't like it.
you
People
know-
would, like when I go at work
Mm-hmm.
or something, and maybe something comes up to where it makes me think of death,
Yeah.
and I'll say something, and people just don't even respond. Like they just don't want to hear anything about that.
We had a really slow day at work the other day, and I'm not going to try to get off topic or anything, but I do want to bring this up to where, like I said, it's just a very slow day, and and this, I was getting worried. Crap, they're probably going to be sending people home soon, and it was, I was not wanting to be. There's some things I was needing to do, and this guy came up to me, and he was just. Yeah, so he said, well, we don't have nothing going on. We've already cleaned, really good the past hour. We've even done some like deep cleaning. He said, what do you want to talk about? I said, well, we could talk about the great many of possibilities to lead to any one of our, how shall we call it, premature demise. There goes those words again. There's a Twilight Zone reference.
Yeah.
But I did use that. And yeah, he looked offended and he walked away. And he refused to talk about that. But that cracked me up how like kind of mad he got without being mad.
Right.
Like acting mad or saying anything to me. People do not want to talk about death.
Another thing kind of relating to what you said a moment ago, Damien Nichols said was how there's a moment in time for a magician or a spiritual seeker to where your entire relationship with the universe is God speaking directly to you. So like there becomes a point to where that everything is a message.
Yeah.
Everything is a message, and everything means something. I think it's interesting to play around with that, to sit down in public and kind of pretend like every stumble and every T-shirt logo and everything means something and is there and is speaking to you.
Mystical, dude.
But when you do that, it's almost like you're divining, and you start to get answers because you're looking for it, and answers will appear. It's like an oracle,
That's huge what you just said, because I've been doing that.
Yeah, I have too.
But I haven't been doing it truly consciously.
Right.
I've just noticed that everything that happens seems to be something I'm highly interested
in.
There's
a really cool story about this that I could find for us later. That's really cool about a guy talking about this very thing. Wow. He's talking to Duncan Trussell about it. Very cool. I want to show you that.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get set up, man, there, and we'll just chill. We'll look at a lot of stuff. I'm looking forward to this big time, dude.
Yeah, that was really cool the way he describes this experience that he had.
Yeah.
That is so mind blowing.
Yeah, dude. That sounds.
That has to do with synchronicity, but synchronicity is a very interesting thing. It does seem to be.
And they change over the course
It seems
of time.
to synchronicity seems to increase along with
this
your
is what's funny.
Spiritual development.
Yes, they do. They increase. This is what I was going to say about it, and this is hard to explain, but they seem to increase. They become. This might not be the right word. More subtle.
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you mean.
That's the kind I've been having a lot of recently.
Honestly, same.
But it's not always the numbers,
right?
Like at the beginning.
Yeah.
I've been
numbers was crazy at first, dude.
Yeah, and I've still been getting the numbers.
Same.
I always end up leaving. For example, I'm always clocking out at my job at 12:34 a.m.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And it's just weird because it either. I'm not trying to clock out at the same time. That's when I clock out. It's always 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the biggest number thing I always
like. There's an example of one that I remember.
I've been getting a lot of 666 too.
Oh my god, same, dude. 100% same.
Yeah.
But like I had an experience not too long ago where I was listening to a song talking about Kali, the deity from Hinduism, and there was a order popped up like immediately that was order name was Kali. Yeah, stuff like that. Like that's a non-number synchronicity. Like stuff like that happens to me like literally all the time.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy.
Yeah,
and that's like a rare name.
Or, dude, I've had even just mind-blowing stuff happen. Like on YouTube, like I'll what was it that happened the other day, dude? Something happened that was like such a synchronicity that it blew my fucking mind. I can't remember what exactly happened though.
And I've noticed, yeah, the more subtle thing is another thing that's kind of hard to talk about too, because they so many of them happen, and you just sometimes let it like roll off your shoulders, and it's hard to get back to each one that happens. But it does. It's been happening a lot though.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you start getting a little worried because you start having all these conclusions. That's why I think these talks are very important. It almost helps kind of ground yourself and get some things out in the open. We almost look at this as, hey, now things are documented.
Yeah.
Whatever experiences we may have had the past week or whatever, we move forward, collecting a bunch of new experiences, and
reflecting upon them.
Yeah, and when we reflect on these things, it's like we've put down another piece of the puzzle, but it has been a little more worrisome. I don't know if that's like the word to use, but it does seem like time is going by pretty fast in a way. Other times pretty slow.
Yeah.
But and you get frustrated spending this time
doing things
things
that
you don't want to.
Yeah.
And
which is kind of the dilemma of everybody right now. Like having to devote yourself to the time to corporations to make a living, and it's difficult to find time for spiritual work. But I'm telling you, if you discipline yourself, and instead of doom scrolling, you read, or
you will have time to do it.
Yes, 100%. Like you can make the most out of the time you have.
And I feel like we do good on that. Yeah. We get together, and it's amazing that we at least have usually a day, and if not, we'll make time. If it's late at night or whatever, we spend time with our partners, and we make sure we have time to do the great work and have our plant ceremonies.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, though, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything I need to say else. I know they are, but I'll probably just tell you about them if I think about them. How long have we been talking?
I have no idea.
An hour?
Hour 12.
Wow, I didn't realize we talked that long.
I know. See, I don't have my prescription glasses on, so I couldn't see it.
But. Yeah, I think hopefully I haven't talked too much.
No, I do. I think we both got some rambling in. So.
Okay. I don't think I have anything else to wish to say, sir.
All right, we can close it out and move on.
Sounds great, brother.
I can do a little Hare Krishna before we.
That sounds great. Good, sir.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare. Continue to expand your consciousness. May you all have a sense of peace. Do what you need to do the right thing moment to moment, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.